At the beginning of the movie, we see a martial arts master known as Shifu climbing up the temple with his young disciple, Biggie. The small rabbit attempts to spar with the Shifu, but he misses every attack. Shifu makes his disciple chase him, but Biggie fails to catch up. Shifu tells the young rabbit that he still has a lot to learn. Shifu notices the bad weather, sensing that something alarming might happen. He gives a letter to Biggie and gives him an important task. The young rabbit must find Shifu's daughter and tell her to come home. After Biggie leaves, a group of armed men arrive and threaten the master. A fight starts, and Shifu masterfully takes down his attackers. They are no match for his superior martial arts skill. However, a large panda named Slash attacks from behind and manages to hurt the master's fist. Slash demands that Shifu hand over the tablet and relinquish his position as master. The hurt Shifu throws a smoke bomb and escapes. Slash stops his subordinates from giving chase, stating that the tablet will soon be his. In the next scene, we see our protagonist, a fat bunny named Fu. He is expertly kneading dough, chopping it, and placing other ingredients on it. He finishes frying the pieces, turning them into sweet cakes. Afterward, he heads out to start his day selling the food he made. However, on his way out, he trips on an unconscious monkey, causing his sweet cakes to fall on the ground. He starts picking them up but sees the unconscious monkey in the process. He checks if the monkey is still alive. Fortunately, he is. The monkey wakes up, and we see that it's Master Shifu. Fu brings Shifu to his home and looks for medicine. When he tries to give it to Shifu, the master tells Fu that it won't help him. Shifu says that the poison has already done damage and that it's too late for him. He then asks Fu to extend his hand so he can transfer his kung fu powers to the rabbit. Fu complies, and a surge of mystical energy flows through his body. Fu experiences an indescribable and overpowering sensation as the power flows inside him. Through his dying breath, Shifu tells Fu to go to the city, find his daughter Penny, and give the stone tablet to her. Fu is confused, but he promises Shifu to do as he says. In the next scene, we see Fu traveling through a flowery field. We see him cross a dangerous canyon and endure heavy rain. He tries to rest in a cave, but Fu pushes on after seeing the dangers that lurk inside. Finally, we see him collapse in the middle of a bamboo forest. The next morning we see two thieves near the sleeping Fu. They are painting their faces to look like fierce warriors. Fu wakes up and approaches the thieves. He tries to ask them a question, but they interrupt him and intimidate him. However, they fail to get their message across since Fu has no idea who they are. They spend a few minutes trying to make him guess what's happening, but the big rabbit is too dumb to put two and two together. One of the thieves faints out of frustration, while the other one pulls out a knife and declares a robbery. Fu finally understands who they are and runs away. Next, we see Biggie and Penny walking and talking to each other. Biggie tells her about the time he trained with Master Shifu, exaggerating his accomplishments. All of a sudden, they spot Fu being chased by the thieves. Penny performs acrobatic maneuvers and flies toward Fu and the thieves' location. Biggie arrives and starts provoking the thieves. As a result, one of them lunges for an attack. Penny counters by grabbing the attacking thief and throwing her high above the trees. The other thief tries to attack as well but is easily defeated by Penny. The thieves flee after Penny tells them to do something better with their time. Biggie observes Fu, stating how they are so different despite being a rabbit as well. He also almost reveals Penny's identity, but she stops him from talking. She introduces herself as Penelope. Fu pauses to think and fails to realize that the one he is looking for is right in front of him. Penny and Biggie bids Fu farewell, and they continue walking. Fu, on the other hand, starts going towards the city where the martial arts academy is located. In the next scene, we see Slash sitting on a throne, enjoying his meal. A group of martial artists arrive and point out that painting black circles around his eye doesn't make him a panda. He welcomes them and asks why they are there. They demand to know where Master Shifu is and what Slash has done to him. Slash puts on an act, telling everyone that Shifu had passed away protecting him from a gang of assassins. He lies about the master handing over control of the school to him. He tells them that he's remorseful and promises to avenge his passing. The martial artists are skeptical and ask him to show the stone tablet as proof. Slash stands up and puts his hand inside his robe, pretending to pull out a tablet. Instead, he throws poison bombs at the martial artists in front of him, knocking them all out. In the next scene, we see Biggie and Penny sitting under a tree. They discuss their plans after Penny returns home. She said that she'll have to give up her dreams. Biggie tells her that she should have done that a long time ago. Penny agrees and promises to take care of her father once she arrives home. Later that afternoon, we see Fu enter Capital City. He is amazed by how big it is. Upon venturing further in, he sees various food stalls which capture his attention. He hears his stomach growl and feels an urge to eat. However, he decides to put off eating and focus on his mission. He asks a local vendor for directions. The vendor points him toward the location of the martial arts academy. Meanwhile, we see Biggie and Penny in the same area. Penny thinks about buying a souvenir for her father, so Biggie takes her to a store selling rabbit-shaped vases. She asks the vendor how much the vase costs. The vendor recognizes her, and she admits that she is indeed Penny. Fu hears the name Penny being uttered from several feet away. He looks back and tries to locate the source of the sound. However, his path is blocked by 3 large bulls, and he is accidentally dragged further into the city. Next, we see Penny talking to the vendor again. He tells her what happened while she was gone. She is surprised to hear that Shifu is missing and that Slash has proclaimed himself the new master of the martial arts academy. She and Biggie immediately stop what they are doing and run toward the academy. Fu enters the martial arts academy, where a banquet is currently being held. A waiter stops him and asks him if he wants a table for one. He hesitantly agrees, and the waiter shouts for a table to be reserved. Fu enters the premises and sees the festivities happening. Behind him, a kid lights up a chain of fireworks which startles him. Fu accidentally hit a nearby flyer which made several people look at him. The waiter he met at the entrance approaches him and tells him he has been hired. Fu is confused, so the waiter explains that since he grabbed the flyer, it means that he applied for work. Despite his protest, Fu is dragged into the kitchen and asked to begin working. He sees the head chef, a pig, shouting at all of the employees. He is immediately handed 2 dishes and is dragged again to serve customers. Fu arrives at the main banquet, where Slash and all his subordinates are eating. He throws the plats in his hand and starts screaming. Fu announces that he's looking for someone. Everyone around him is stunned. Slash asks him who he's looking for. When Fu tells them that he's looking for Penny, everyone around him becomes agitated and starts unsheathing their weapons. After realizing the danger he put himself in, Fu starts to sing and dance, pretending to beg for pennies. Shortly after, he gets escorted off the banquet by one of the waiters. Slash tells his right-hand man to keep an eye on Fu so he doesn't cause any trouble. Once out of sight, the waiter asks Fu who sent him to find Penny. He also tells him about the current situation, warning him not to get on Slash's bad side. Lastly, the waiter tells Fu to keep quiet and just focus on his work. Outside of the banquet, we see Penny and Biggie observing. She tells him that she doesn't recognize the people there. Biggie volunteers to go inside and check out the situation. Biggie sneaks past the guards and into the main hall. He sees Slash and his subordinates celebrating. Unfortunately, Slash sees Biggie, so he quickly moves out of sight. Slash informs his right-hand man to watch to issue an order to capture Biggie. We see Biggie running away from his pursuers. However, when he tries to hide, another one of Slash's henchmen spots him. Biggie runs away again but finds himself at a dead end. He sees a small hole in the wall and quickly goes through it. However, waiting on the other side is Slash's right-hand man and more subordinates. One henchman tries pulling Biggie from one side of the hole while another pulls from the other. The little rabbit is caught in a painful tug of war. Fortunately, Penny arrives just in time to rescue him. Slash's henchmen start attacking Penny, but they are no match for her superior fighting skills. After taking many of them down, Penny flees, carrying Biggie with her. In the next scene, we see Fu collecting dirty dishes after the banquet has ended. He sits down and looks at the tablet while questioning what to do next. Then, he dozes off. The next day, Fu is woken up by a whip. Slash's right-hand man screams at everyone to wake up and start serving food. Fu takes the empty plates and walks out of the kitchen. Outside, he sees several martial artists during their morning training. Fu tries to get past the crowd of martial artists. He evades most of them and successfully reaches the end. However, one of the martial artists trips him, causing him to fall down and break a stack of plates. The head chef sees the mess, and orders Fu to fill several large vases with water as his punishment. While fetching water, Fu smells food being cooked in the kitchen. He goes inside and asks the head chef if he can try cooking. The head chef rejects his request and shoves him aside. This causes Fu to trip and causes a chain reaction of accidents in the kitchen. The head chef becomes livid and literally throws him out of the kitchen. In the next scene, we see Fu cleaning the training dummies at the training grounds. The martial artists laugh at him after he gets accidentally pummeled by the dummies. Next, we see him resentfully washing dishes and accidentally breaking plates. We also see him getting bullied by his co-workers. They refuse to give him food to eat. They also put a banana peel in front of him while he's gathering wood, causing him to slip and fall. That night, Fu goes back to the kitchen to rest after having a miserable day. He takes out the tablets, and rants about not knowing what to do next. He tries throwing the tablet, but it ricochets and hits him in the head, knocking him out. In the next scene, we see Biggie and Penny using a kite to fly by the martial arts academy. We see a top being thrown at one of the guards to distract them. Next, we see Slash in his room being woken up by the commotion outside. When he tries and takes a look, he notices a figure moving about in his room. Penny unleashes a flurry of attacks from above, surprising Slash and pinning him into a corner. Slash tries to convince Penny to lower her sword so he can explain. He tries to tell the same lie he told the martial artists that came to him. She tells Penny the fake story about being saved by Master Shifu and him being made the next master. She tells him that her father wrote her a letter requesting her return. She doesn't believe Slash because the letter did not mention him. She demands to see the tablet as proof that Slash is the new master. Penny gets distracted by the noise of a commotion outside. Slash uses that as an opportunity to strike her. He wounds Penny on the shoulder and turns the situation around. Slash attempts to deliver a deadly strike, but Penny escapes just before he can. The wounded Penny gets into a fight with the armed henchman outside Slash's room. He easily takes down the first one that attacks her. After that, Biggie shows up, riding a kite and telling Penny to come to him so they can escape. However, Biggie loses control of the kite for a moment. Another henchman tries shooting Biggie with an arrow, but Penny quickly intercepts the shot and incapacitates the henchman. After that, Penny successfully rides the kite with Biggie, and they make their escape. Just when Penny thinks they are safe, Slash appears out of nowhere and grabs her leg. They cross blades mid-air. Biggie almost falls off but manages to hold on to Penny's leg. Then he bites Slash's hand, causing the big panda to release his grip and fall. Slash crashes into an archway. Slash's right-hand man checks on his condition. He chokes him and calls him an idiot for letting the intruders escape. Then, Slash's sends him flying several yards away. The next morning, we see Biggie and Penny taking a breather in the middle of a road. Penny tells the little rabbit that she regrets not coming home sooner. After that, she faints due to her injuries. Biggie immediately screams for help as loud as he can. We see Fu nearby being woken up by Biggie's cry for help. At first, he thinks he is hallucinating, but after hearing it a second time, he stands up and locates the scream source. Fu finds Biggie and the unconscious Penny. He grabs Penny, puts her on his shoulder, and then runs towards a nearby temple. Biggie doesn't know what Fu is trying to do, so he tells him to stop and bites his tail. Still, Fu manages to put Penny in a safe place where she can recover from her injuries. Penny wakes up and asks Biggie where they are. Before Biggie could finish explaining, Fu storms in, announcing the found medicine. Then, to Biggie's disgust, he begins to chew the herbs. After spitting it out, he applies the substance to Penny's wound. Biggie tells Fu that since they saved him before, he has now repaid them. Penny thanks Fu for the medicine, and the rabbit leaves, seeing that he is no longer needed. Later that day, we see Fu working as usual. He spots a commotion happening at the entrance of the academy. A group of henchmen has gathered, and the right-hand man issues an order to search everywhere for Penny. Slash is in deep thought and glances at Fu, who is going about his business. When Fu enters the kitchen, he asks one of the employees about what happened last night. The employee tells him about an assassin woman and a small bunny. Fu almost reveals that he knows who those individuals are. However, the employee tells him to keep his mouth shut unless he wants trouble. The head chef sees Fu and yells at him to get back to work. That night, Fu dreams about Master Shifu. In the dream, the old monkey reminds Fu that his kung fu power is inside him, and he needs to learn how to unleash it. He also reminds Fu to search for Penny. Fu asks how to go about his mission. Before Master Shifu can finish, Fu is woken up by an employee who splashes water on him. Fu realizes that it's already morning. After work, Fu goes back to the temple and delivers food to Penny and Biggie. The small rabbit tries to send him away, but Fu insists on cooking food for them. Penny accepts his offer, so Fu starts preparing the ingredients. While cooking, Penny notices how dexterous Fu is at chopping food. She thinks that Fu might be a kung fu master. Moments later, Fu serves her sliced cheese and vegetables. He also offers Penny his signature dish, sweet cakes. Unfortunately, Penny tells him that she's not hungry. Biggie, on the other hand, can't help but devour the food that Fu prepared. Meanwhile, Penny continues contemplating what she wants to do next. That night, Fu dreams about Master Shifu again. In the dream, he asks the monkey for more detailed instructions. The master responds by telling Fu that he can use kung fu in everything he does. Fu asks if kung fu can is present even in cooking or cleaning, and the master responds affirmatively. The next day, Fu puts into action what the master told him in his dream. While chopping wood, he uses kung fu. He slices multiple blocks of wood in the air and even manages to slash the structure around him. He manages to clean the kitchen at such great speed. Furthermore, everyone sees Fu fetching water at a speed that no one imagined was possible. In the evening, while washing plates, Fu gets attacked by a swarm of mosquitoes. As the insects approach, Fu jumps high in the air and unleashes an energy blast that traps all the mosquitoes inside droplets of water. The next day, we see Fu pass through a number of martial artists without getting hit or dropping the stack of plates he's holding. It's a very different outcome compared to the first time he did it. Later that day, Fu visits the temple again and sees Penny playing with a Diabolo yo-yo. He compliments her skill, and she responds by thanking him for what he did for her and Biggie. After that, they go on a short walk, and Penny tells Fu her story. She tells him that he left her home to pursue a career in the circus for 3 years. Penny asks Fu about his story. He tells her that he met a man that asked him to look for his daughter. Penny becomes curious and asks him what the name of the daughter is. Their conversation is interrupted by a pesky fly. Fu suddenly grabs the fly in his hand. Penny becomes suspicious, so she asks him if he knows Kung Fu. He tells her that he doesn't, but Penny doesn't believe him. She tries hitting him a few times, but Fu evades and repels the hits. Penny finds out that Fu works at the restaurant inside the martial arts academy. He informs her that the new master will conduct a ceremony soon and reveal a tablet. After hearing this, Penny tells him to go away. Fu tries asking her if she is the assassin that infiltrated the academy. Penny tells him to mind his own business as she heads back to the temple. After that, Penny tells Biggie that they are going to leave the temple and start their revenge plan. When Fu returns to the academy, Slash sees him carrying out a task with incredible speed. Slash is convinced that the rabbit knows Kung Fu. He asks his right-hand man to send henchmen to follow Fu so they know where he goes off to after work. In the next scene, we see Fu head out while several henchmen follow him. Once he arrives at the temple, the henchmen ambush him. They manage to restrain him using ropes. One of the henchmen searches inside the temple but sees no one there. After that, they bring Fu back to the academy and trap him inside a prison. In the next scene, we see the opening ceremony of a martial arts tournament. Several martial artists from across the land come to witness and participate in the event. The right-hand man announces the entrance of the new master, Slash. The crowd is shocked by the announcement. They start mumbling, and some start asking where Shifu is. Slash comes out and greets everyone. After that, he reveals that he has a new tablet made to commemorate his appointment as the new master. When Slash reveals a large golden tablet, the crowd becomes outraged. They shout at him, complaining that his tablet is not legitimate. He tells everyone that anyone who dares question his authority is free to challenge him in combat. Master Turtle hops into the arena and challenges Slash. At the beginning of the fight, the turtle manages to land a few blows. However, after Slash unleashes more power into his fists, he brutally defeats the turtle. Next, the great twin tigers step forth, bearing swords. Slash grabs a polearm and engages them in combat. He makes quick work of one of the tigers. After that, he swiftly defeats the other twin. Slash looks at the displeased crowd and once again declares himself as the ruler of the land. However, a dissenting voice shouts from above him. We see Penny wielding her sword as she jumps down into the arena. She calls her a traitor, but Slash maintains that he is the rightful heir to the throne. Biggie interjects and reveals that Slash was the one who murdered Shifu. Slash doesn't deny the accusations. Instead, he faces off against Penny, who is there to avenge her father. Slash and Penny clash swords. During the fight, Penny shows how more agile and skillful she is at a fair fight. Slash retreats for a few seconds, and two of his henchmen join the fray. For a brief moment, Slash finds an opportunity to deliver a strike that causes Penny to lose footing. He manages to catch her off guard and send her flying across the arena. While the fight is happening, Fu's inner power awakens, even though he is still asleep. Then his body breaks free from his shackles and levitates. Shortly after, the inner power sends Fu flying high into the sky. Once at a certain altitude, Fu regains full consciousness. Back at the arena, Slash prepares to deliver the final blow to Penny. However, the sky suddenly turns dark, and a storm cloud begins to form. Fu then emerges from the cloud and crashes down to the arena. Fu reveals the tablet that he was supposed to give to Penny. Slash becomes agitated and attacks Penny, knocking her down. Slash tries to stab her, but Fu throws the tablet in Slash's direction, breaking the sword. However, Slash grabs the tablet and claims it. Fu carries Penny into a safe spot before returning to the arena, demanding that Slash return the tablet. Slash's henchmen surround the arena. He orders his henchmen to seize Fu. What they don't know is that Fu possesses Master Shifu's fighting ability. The fat rabbit proceeds to take down Slash's henchmen with ease. Even when they all come at him at the same time, they are no match for him. Using his body, Fu creates a whirlwind that pulls his enemies together and sends them flying out of the arena. The rest of the henchmen run after witnessing what Fu can do. Slash attacks Fu and lands a solid hit to his face. However, Fu gets back up as if nothing happened. Slash attacks again, this time unleashing a combination of blows that all hit their mark. This time, Fu feels the impact of the attacks, but he still manages to get up. Slash becomes frustrated and brings out his claws while going for another attack. Fu blocks it and counters all of Slash's subsequent attacks. They continue to exchange blows, but Fu manages to come out on top after he delivers a flurry of blows that send Slash crashing down. Fu finishes the fight by landing directly on top of Slash from high above. After the fight, Fu recovers the tablet and gives it to Penny. At the end of the movie, we see Fu, Biggie, and Penny lying on a grassy field, watching the clouds. Penny asks Fu what he wants to do next. He hears a cry for help in the distance. Before running off to the people in need of help, he declares that he wants to be a sweet cake maker and a kung fu superstar at the same time.